I'm certainly not saying that it shows intelligence that we have two parties. It's just three parties would be dizzying. We're Pepsi Coke. That's fucking it, asshole. But our two-party systems, basically the Democrats and the Republicans, which is basically, it's like a bowl of shit looking in the mirror at itself. Yeah. It's extraordinary. And there's this, I'm always astonished that at this point in time, after all we've been through, that because it was like, why would I get excited that a Democrat had won? Why? 8 years of George Bush, and during that entire time, the Democrats didn't do shit. They didn't do fucking nothing. The last 8 years in my country, it was basically the Republicans stood around farting, and the Democrats went, ooh, let me smell it. The fact that there's still loyal Democrats and loyal Republicans, there are people, large numbers, who still have this huge faith in their party. I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. Really? What is it that these people have seen either of these parties do for them in the last 30 years? No, they haven't done shit. I don't know what it is that they're fucking seeing. I don't see it. They're delusional. They're seeing shit that isn't there. Which means what? It means they're hallucinating. And I know about hallucinations because I took LSD when I was younger, just to prepare me for this moment in time. And I saw my refrigerator turn into a puma and run away. And I spent 3 days tracking that son of a bitch. Mostly thinking, how am I going to explain this to my parents? And when I finally tracked it down in the middle of the woods and was cutting open its stomach to get a beer out, as nuts as I was at that moment, I was less crazy than anybody who still considers himself a Democrat or a Republican. The main change for me over the past 8 years was that in my country, I went from being what would be considered a fringe comedian, edgy, scary, let's not go to see him, to a mainstream comedian. It was interesting, I think, to note that when I first came to Amsterdam and was considered very edgy, didn't faze you fuckers at all. What's the big deal? But I have become a mainstream comedian, and I know this because both John and I went over to Afghanistan and Iraq to entertain the troops this year, and I have been asked by the USO, which is the group that sends entertainers into war zones. It's what they do. You know, we always seem to be in one. It's really not my choice. The USO has asked me this year to be the host of their major benefit, which is, I don't think, right. I mean, to have gone in my lifetime from Bob Hope to me is just fucking wrong. I also know that I'm a mainstream comedian because I do a lot of benefits now. I do a lot of performances for charities. It used to be I'd call the charity up and say, you know, I'll do a show for you, and they go, fuck you, and hang up. But I recently did one in the heart of the country in St. Louis, Missouri, in a hockey rink in front of 8,000 people. And and performing at this was REO Speedwagon. Hold your applause. Huey Lewis in the News. Ah, yes. We love our Huey. And I followed onto the stage Vince Gill. Now, I performed enough around Europe to realize that many of you don't know who he is, do you? How many of you actually know who Vince Gill is? I can't wait to call that fucker up and tell him. I can guarantee in the United States, 3 out of 4 people know exactly who Vince Gill is. He's one of the most mainstream performers he is, because he is a country and Western legend and an icon. He is huge in America as well. He should be. And a lot of you don't know who he is because you don't listen to country and Western music, because a lot of country and Western music is shit. A lot of it is based on old Jerry Springer episodes. But he is really an extraordinary singer, and has a huge following. And you have to realize, I, as a comic, have followed some of the strangest acts in clubs around the United States for years. The weirdest act that I ever followed I had to follow a guy who, at the end of his show, began to talk about how he was in his he was in the delivery room watching his wife give birth, and he noticed, and now I'm quoting him, he noticed how big her pussy got. Hang in there, you're adults. I watched your TV last night. This shouldn't be that fucking disturbing here. You have 8 channels, and I don't, with just women going, what? What is that about? I'm punching numbers into my cell phone like a fucking idiot. So he noticed how big her pussy got. And he said that a few weeks later, he was thinking about having sex with her. And now I'm quoting again. And he said he thought about going and down and licking her pussy. You got it. And he was afraid that her pussy gets so big it snap over his head and his head be inside her pussy. And now here's Lewis Black. I had always felt that has got to be as strange as it possibly could be. But following Vince Gill was even weirder. Vince Gill walked onto the stage and began to sing. His voice is astonishing. The only way I can describe it is 30 seconds into the song, I felt exactly the way I feel when I'm taking a bath that is just the right temperature. You know, that warm and just before it gets hot. Fucking perfect. When he finished the song, I couldn't possibly tell you what he was singing about. All I knew is I'd never been that comfortable in my life. And then he began to tell a story, a really funny story, a clean, funny story. a clean, funny story in which he didn't use the word fuck once.